person for a period of 15 days. The movement of goods and merchandise by land is not affected by the measure. The Minister of Defense, Interior, and Health are in charge of the executions of the measure enacted in this decree, which comes into the forces on Tuesday, October 2020. This decree abrogates all contrary provisions contained in Decree number 2020-154 PRPM, amending Decree numbers 2020-18 PRPM on the partial lifting of exceptional measures of prevention against the spread of COVID-19. On October 20, the workshop for the restitutions of the results and evaluations of the knowledge of the PRAN project took place at the National Assembly. The PRAN project is a project aimed at strengthening the National Assembly for the promotions and protections of human rights. This project is implemented by the Interparliamentary Union and receives financial support from the European Union. The President of the National Assembly, Mohamed Ali Ahmed, the Ambassador of the European Union, Aidan O'Hara, were present for the occasions. The workshop was an opportunity to have an in-depth discussions with the participating parliamentarians to take stocks of the project and to reflect together on ways to improve and consolidate the results achieved. Important work was done to create the Human Rights Commission, to caucus of women parliamentarians. Sensitization sessions were also held with the National Assembly. With the National Human Rights Commission, finally work was done with the parliamentarian administrations to strengthen its capacity. Furthermore, the Ambassador of the European Union, Aidan O'Hara, stated in his introductory speeches that the results were remarkable, and he reiterated his support for the National Assembly. The National Assembly is indeed supported by the European Union, which is accompanying it in this capacity building project. The EU ambassador continued by recalling that the values of the European Union were those pursued by the project, and that the defense and promotions of human rights were particularly important for the EU ambassador. Aidan O'Hara, the Commissioners of Human Rights and the Caucus of Women Parliamentarians are extremely important achievements for the National Assembly. He also praised the very good collaboration between the institutions involved in the project over a period of 23 months. The PRAN project helped strengthening to work of the National Assembly to better protect and promote human rights in Djibouti. It has made available to the National Assembly, among other things, information, knowledge, and training. In its opening workshop, the President of the National Assembly, Mohamed Ali Ahmed, said that the project has led to concrete results that allow our Assembly to be stronger and better equipped to promote human rights in Djibouti. He went on to highlight that the project contributes to the realizations of our parliament strategic plans and its vision of making the National Assembly a strong, modern, democratic, accessible, and transparent institution. The President of the National Assembly, Mohamed Ali Ahmed, also stated that the parliamentary commissions on human rights and the caucus of women parliamentarians have now been created and will strengthen the National Assembly to better take into account human rights. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohamed Mahamoud, received this morning the UNICEF Regional Directors for the Middle East and North Africa, Ted Shaban, who is on an official visit to our country. The representative of UNICEF in Djibouti, Melva Jansen, and the Secretary General of the MENFOP, Mohamed Abdallah Mahyoub, and the other executive and officials of MENFOP and UNICEF took part in this meeting. After a word of welcome, the regional director said he was pleased to meet the minister who is responsible for many achievements in terms of schooling and recovery of the quality of teaching and learning. Mr. Shaban assured that UNICEF, as the leaders of the local group of education partners, is committed and determined to accompany MENFOP in its national vocational training policy, which will extend over the period 2020-2035. He said he was prepared to provide all the support needed to achieve the goals of 100% schooling for children in Djibouti, an enthusiasm shared by the Ministers of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, who praised the leadership of UNICEF at the head of the local group of education partners. The Minister of Health, Mohamed Warsama Diriye, traveled yesterday in the sub-prefecture of Damerjog in the companies of the regional directors of UNICEF, Ted Shaban, to visit the various services of health care and health services delivered at the health post of Damerjog. Upon their arrival, the Minister of Health and his host were warmly welcomed by the Prefect of Artas region, Mr. Mohammed Sheikh Hassan, and the sub-prefectures of Damerjog, Mr. Abdi Shaqib Noor. Note the presence of the representative of the UNICEF in Djibouti, Malva Jensen, and several officials of the Ministry of Health. The regional directors of UNICEF, Ted Shaban, was able to immerse himself in this level of the structures to assess the quality of health services for the children, such as immunization, nutrition, and reintegrate management of childhood illness. The Minister of Health, Mohamed Warsama Diriye, and the regional directors of UNICEF also visit the maternity service and diaper suites for mothers in Damerjog. At the end of the visit, the UN officials praised the effort made by the Djiboutian government in promoting maternal and child health. The Minister of Health, Mohamed Warsama Diriye, convened this morning the Scientific Committee for the Response Against COVID-19 in order to discuss the recent evolutions of this pandemic in our country. Indeed, after several months of a clear slowdowns in the transmissions of the virus, the number of positive cases has experienced slight shivers in recent days, although hospital indications are still green. The Minister of Health indicated that the epidemiological monitoring services are recorded an unusual increase in positive cases that should not be taken lightly. The Scientific College has therefore looked into the matter so to review the response strategy and to redefine new recommendations in order to contain any risk of epidemic recurrence while raising the level of vigilance in all health structures and checkpoints of the country. The Minister of Health, Mohamed Warsama Diriye, reminded that the population that is essential to follow the recommendations of the health authority, particularly through strict and general compliance with the barrier measures that remain the safest means to prevent the resumption of the epidemic. The Minister of Agriculture, Mohammed Ahmed Awale, accompanied by strong delegations, was on Sundays in Tajora to visit the new fishery whose works are finalized with the installations of a modern equipment for the promotions of fishing. A project carried out thanks to the investment of the government to support the fishing sector through the PRAREV supervised by the Director of Fishing with the financial support of the ADDS. The realizations of the new fishery of Tajora, financed in part by ADDS, it is in conformity with the policy of decentralization to get closer to the fishermen of Tajora in order to offer them all the services necessary to develop the activities, resilience, infrastructure, but also in accordance with the needs of fishermen of the region with the installations of the cold storage equipment, cold rooms, ice factory. The fishery of Tajora is equipped with several rooms, and already a first cold room has been installed with the support of the ADDS. A second room is on its way according to the project coordinators Beidan Suleiman Mirs. The project coordinators of PRAREV, Beidan Suleiman Mirs, and the Director of Fisheries, Ahmed Arar, reacted during the visit of the Minister of Agriculture to the Tajora fishery for the promotions of the fishing by making available to fishermen all the services they need. After the visit of the fishery, the minister and his delegation took the Tajura Balhoroz and stopped in Bolli to note the progress of the constructions of Bolli Adailu Road intended to open up the We'ima sector. The realizations of this asphalt road is a promise of the president that is being fulfilled. The overall progress of the Bolli Adailu Road entrusted to the Chinese company China First is 22%. The excavation work is in progress. The asphalt materials are being transported to the sites, and the project is progressing according to the schedule. The completion of the constructions of Bolli Adailu Road will allow the many farmers of We'ima to more easily transport their product to markets. The opening up of We'ima with this road that will join the main road access to Jura Balho will create a new dynamism of development for the population of the sub-prefecture of Adailu. After seeing and visit the various workshops, the constructionist, the Minister of Agriculture, Mohammed Ahmed Awale, returned on the impact the completions of the constructions of the Bolli Adailu Road will allow to many farmers of We'ima to more easily transport their product to market. The opening up of We'ima with these roads that will join the main road access to Jura Balho will create a new dynamism of development for the population of the sub-prefecture of Adailu. Still within the framework of the World Food Day, after visiting the Sagalu Gubet Fishing Cooperative, the pilot farms in Dulul, the Minister of Agriculture participated in a planting session in Tujara City, welcomed by the prefect of the region, Hassan Dabali Ahmed, and the president of the regional council, Mohammed Ahmed Awale. Delegation is voluntarily rolled up their sleeves to plant trees to embellish the white city on the main road axis. The president of the assembly, Mohammed Ali Ahmed, the secretary of state for decentralization, Hamadou Mohammed Aramis, participated in the sessions of tree planting with the minister. These trees are intended to create shade to fix the soils in order to preserve the environment and will change the physiognomy of the city. This experience will be repeated on all the roads and green spaces of the white city. The minister said that the tree planting is in Tujura, which is expanding with the port, and the road Tujura Balho is part of the diversifications of the activities in his department by the World Food Day after visits to fishing cooperative and agricultural activities. The Minister of Labor, Osman Ibrahim Robli, and the Minister of Urban Planning, Mohammed Abdul Qadir Musa, went to the National Institute of Public Administration, where a recruitment competition for the Ministry of Urban Planning was held. This competition for the recruitment of electrical engineers and senior technicians for the Directorate of Urban Planning. These young people at bachelor's and master levels compete in a transparent and equal opportunity environment while respecting the instructions given by the supervisor. The minister followed very closely the smooth runnings of this competition, which aims to reduce unemployment and strengthen the workforce. It should be noted that in accordance with the President's 2002 decree on the recruitment of government employees, this competition reflects the priority of the President's employment policy, which aims to create an inclusive economy in Djibouti. For his part, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Labor, Abdallah Ali Mohammed, said that in accordance with the President's Decree 2020 decree on the recruitment of government employees, this competition reflects the priority of the President's employment policies, which aims to create an inclusive economy. A joint missions of the Ministry of Decentralization and the Ministry of Solidarity Social Affairs went yesterday, Monday, October 19, to Assassin and Hamlet on the outskirts of the towns of Obok 22 kilometers from the capital of Obok region, Assassin, which has a school, a boreholes, and a community health center, serves as a reunification site for the recipients of the cash transfer. 44 in numbers and spread over 8 pastoral route localities in these sectors of Obok region. This trip to meet with the community leaders, including members of the complaints committee, as well as the recipients of the cash transfer, is part of the ongoing awareness raising on the integrated programs of transfer and human capital development that the two departments have been working together in the perfect collaboration recently led by the director of the and of Perspective and Territorial Development of the Ministry in charge of decentralization, Fardousa Ahmed Ali. This joint said mass missions was warmly welcomed upon its arrival at the Assassin Assembly site by the President of the Regional Council, Muhammad Ismail, with the representative of the Prefect, the representative of the decentralized services of the state, community leaders and beneficiaries of the cash transfers at this site, the customary chief of the locality of Assassin, Mi'aki Ali Kamil, who both welcomed the joint missions. For his part, the president of the regional council, Muhammad Ismail, said for his part during the exchanges that followed, community leaders expressed their appreciations of this initiative of dialogue around two departments that are combining their efforts to improve the living conditions of the most vulnerable population in the interior region. They pointed out certain difficulties that they believed can be overcome with the help of the two departments. The representatives of the recipients of cash transfer expressed their satisfactions with this assistance. They emphasized that it has enabled them to meet some of their needs. For the international scene, Ireland and Wales were become this week the first territories in Europe to confirm their populations in the hope of celebrating Christmas properly, and new turns of the screw are also coming into the effect in Belgium, Slovenia, Italy. Restrictions are tightening day by day in Europe in an attempt to curb the pandemic that has already claimed 250,000 lives. In Ireland, the entire population will be reconfined from Wednesday's night to Thursday, announced late Monday. Its Prime Minister Michael Martin. The measures will come into the force Wednesday at midnight for 6 weeks. He said, while stressing that schools will remain open, all non-essential businesses will have to close. Bars and restaurants will only be able to serve take-out food. Makes will be subject to a 2-week lockdown starting Friday, the toughest measures introduced into the UK since the first wave of COVID-19 in the spring. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.